Na Chandimasuttaṃ panyayanti, na nakatani tarakarupani panyayanti, na ratindiva panyayanti, na masadamasa panyayanti, na utu sangvachara panyayanti, na itipuma panyayanti, sata satatveva sankyang gachanti. The sun and moon are not apparent. The constellations, the stars, are not apparent. Day and night are not apparent. Months and weeks are not apparent. The seasons and years are not apparent. Male and female are not apparent. Beings are simply called beings. Okay, so obviously one word dominates here in this section, panyayanti, which we've come across before. This is the passive of pajanati. And in the passive, the meaning can be to be well known, to be clear, evident, to be perceived, to appear. I translated it as are not apparent, but we probably could say have not appeared. We've changed that into a perfect tense, but that might be a more idiomatic way to handle that in English. But keep in mind, we're not really sure, seeing or hearing this word, it's not real clear or evident to us what the actual meaning would be, based upon the fact that we know the world at this point, its state is one watery substance. I would say that these phenomena under discussion have just not formed yet. That would be my understanding. It could be that they exist, as Aquinas might say, following Aristotle, in potentia, not in actu. They might exist potentially. What we know is that they're not apparent. So I am just trying to keep it neutral. But as always, dear listener, I would very much like to hear your thoughts on the matter. So after we look at this word here in blue, panyayanti, then it's largely a matter of just looking up the compounds if we don't know them. These are all Devanda compounds here. Chandimasuttaṃ, sun and moon. Should say it's often the case that we reverse the order in Devandas. So the literal order or the actual order here is moon, sun, but typically in English we would say sun and moon. One of the basic models you can think of is Samana Brahmana. We would reverse that as Brahmins and ascetics. Then we have Nakatani, which is the stars or constellations. In the plural, it might simply just mean the stars. Taraka is a star as well. And with Rupani, the Pali English Dictionary gives light of the stars. That makes sense. Could just be the shape of the stars, the form of the stars. However you want to take these words, to me, to say that there are stars and starlight are not apparent, it's hard for me to imagine a star without its starlight. So I'm taking Nakatani as maybe the constellations or heavenly bodies more generally, maybe the wandering stars or, the planets. Then we have Ratindiva, day and night. Again, I'm switching the order here. Rati, we come across a lot. Diva means to shine, shining, and by extension, day. Now, those of you who know ancient Greek or just know about mythology in general, Zeus, the king of the gods, is only Zeus in the nominative. In the other cases, which in Greek are the genitive, accusative, and dative, it's some form of Dios, and it is exactly related to this word because Zeus is a sky god. Then we have Masa Adamasa. This one I took a few liberties with. Masa is month. Adhamasa is a half month. So to translate this very literally, months and half months, or half months and months, maybe fortnights and months. I don't know how often the word fortnight is used anymore, but I feel like to capture the meaning here is that neither months nor divisions of the month have yet appeared. So I've used the word week. I think that gets at what's being discussed here. Then we have Utu Sangvachara. Sangvachara is a year, and Utu is a season. So years and seasons are not apparent. Then Iti Puma, male, female, or man and woman, are not apparent. Also, probably should have said this before, all these Dvandas are masculine nominative plural. They are the subjects of Panyayanti, and Panyayanti is the third person plural, present, active, indicative. So there's agreement there. Now this last little bit is the trickiest part. I don't know about you, dear listener, but I think with languages, one of the most difficult aspects is not finding these different forms, and because these things can be looked up pretty easily. What can be problematic is idioms, because just understanding the words literally will not give us the meaning. And then sandhi, or the way sounds change due to sounds that they're around and they've come into combination with. And we have both of those on display in this last little clause. Sattā, masculine nominative plural, beings, sentient beings. And then we have, let's go to the verb gacchanti. Literally, they go. This is third person plural, present, active, indicative. And we have sankyang, which looks accusative, and that would square with our understanding that verbs of motion take the accusative case. The issue is that they go to sankyang, which is, I think it's actually put in the Pali English Dictionary. The first heading is sankha, without the Y. It means enumeration, reckoning, calculation, something along those lines. So they go to a calculation. I mean, we can start to get a sense of what that might mean. The Pali English Dictionary says this idiom means to be called. And Warder, on page 161 in lesson 20, says that the idiom means counts as, is conceived of as, is considered as. Now, what are they called? What are they reckoned as? Sattatveva. Now, this breaks down into sattā, again, beings. And here's the trickiest part for me. The tveva is a combination of T plus eva. When we know that, then it's not a problem. Sattati, remember that the T can mark what in English would go in quotes. It marks direct speech. But it can also set aside a concept. And here, the T is marking off what these beings are called or what they're reckoned as. And they are not only reckoned as, they are reckoned just as. And we might say simply as, or they are simply called beings. The point here is that there's been no differentiation yet in beings. If you're a sentient being, you're simply a sentient being. No other divisions have been noticed or have become apparent yet. Also, regarding this word sankhya, that in Sanskrit it also means to enumerate, to reckon, and is the name of an ancient school of Hindu philosophy, probably due to its reckoning and accounting and enumeration of phenomena, etc.